I wanted to go over some common issues you might have with your iPhone, iPad, or even Android device. Now, these devices are all different, but all of these solutions and problems may be fairly similar. Now, the first thing you'll run into or could run into is something that happens with my mom a lot. You may find that you're getting calls, but they're silenced, or you're trying to run an app or something and there's no sound coming out. What you should do is check this little button here on the side. If it is set to red, if you can see that, that means, I'll show you, I'll flick it to black. Now it's good. But if it's set to red, like that, that means it's on silent mode. Here again, off and on silent mode. So all you need to do is use your fingernail or some small object like a paper clip, insert it in there till you hear a click, and then you're good to go. Now you should be able to adjust the volume like normal and you'll be able to hear it ring. Just about everything else we're going to go over is going to be found here in your settings app. This is what it looks like now on an iPhone or Apple device, but it's going to be found in different locations depending on your phone and device. Now, an easy way to find it, if you can't find it there, I have a search bar set up here. So I just click on that and I could type in settings and it'll pop up here and I can open it. Now, if you don't have that bar down here, an easy way to find it is to scroll through your apps until you find your app library. Again, you could type it here and it'll pop up and you can open it that way. Now, if you'd like that little search bar down here, a few people had asked me, how do I get that? That's an easy way to do that is to go to your settings, scroll down until you see home screen and app library. I click on that and search show on home screen. Make sure that is highlighted. If I remove that, you see it's gone, not there anymore. But if I put it back, now it's back. Sorry, I shook the camera. Now notice when I scroll, it temporarily disappears, so don't panic if it goes away for a second, but here it's back. Now, of course, another very common issue with the phone is it being, too quiet or too loud, I suppose. Either way, a number of ways to address this. You've got these up and down volume bars on most phones or devices. You can adjust the ringer volume or the sound volume that way. But there's a number of ways to do it. I just want to show you real quick. Under your settings, you can go down until you find sounds and haptics. You can adjust the ringtone alerts this way, as well as you can change all of sounds for various alerts, for the ring, etc. Lastly, I wanted to make you aware of this. If you don't want to go through your settings, all you have to do from the very top corner is go down, or very top of the screen, just pull down until you get that. And this is a very useful screen. We'll go over this again, but right here, again, you have your ringer volume, your sound volume you could access right there. Also with that is your brightness level, which I know can affect a lot of people. Is your screen too bright or too dark? You can also address that right here on this screen. Just pull up to get rid of that. Again, I'm having some trouble, but down and then up to get rid of it. There's a number of ways to deal with that brightness as well. If you go to your settings, you can address it right here with display and brightness, and here, you could address it right here, adjust it, I should say. You could also do dark, light. There's a lot of settings to be found here. I wanted to mention some issues you may have with VPNs. Now, VPNs have become extremely important lately, not just for your privacy, but also for security purposes. Here I have a couple very common ones, popular options, NordVPN or Proton VPN. NordVPN offers various paid subscriptions. Proton does as well, but they also have a free subscription, which I'm using right now for this demonstration. However, there are times when you're going to want to turn these devices or turn your VPN off. If you were in airplane mode, for example, I was just recently traveling and I was having trouble accessing the plane's Wi-Fi with my VPN on. There are other instances where you're not traveling, just accessing, for example, your bank online, you may have trouble accessing with a VPN. Netflix sometimes doesn't want you to use a VPN. There are also various apps, like even your local grocery store app may not want you using a VPN because, my VPN currently has me, I think, somewhere in Japan or the Netherlands, and that's not obviously where I'm grocery shopping right now. So what you want to do then is turn your VPN off. And I did want to show you an issue you could have. I am here in settings, and if you go to settings and try to turn the VPN off here, sometimes you can have an issue. And I didn't have an issue that time, of course, because you're watching. But if you ever do have an issue, sometimes it won't connect there. What you have to do is open the actual app itself, and you'll have to manually disconnect. If you have trouble figuring out where you stash that app, remember you can always go to your app library, search for it. This one is Proton VPN, and just disconnect that sucker. Disconnect and then shut that sucker down. And then we'll go back to settings, and you'll see it's no longer connected. I know another issue some people have is getting just too many darn notifications from your various apps and such. So I wanted to show you an easy way to deal with that. First, you go to your settings, then you just go down until you find notifications. Now there's a few ways to do this, but I want to show you this first. Under notifications, you have a few different options, but generally what I like to do is through notifications, pick the apps that you're having issues with. Like say Amazon, say you don't want any notifications, you can just go ahead and turn them off. Now I do want Amazon notifications, so I'm going to allow that one. But for example, here is backgammon. I don't want those. I don't need my video game telling me notifications, so I'm going to leave that one off. Now there is another way to do this. I wanted to show you this. If you scroll, again, we're under settings. If you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see apps. And you can again select each one of those, like Amazon. And it'll give you more features than just notifications, which you see here. It'll give you, say they have limited access to my photos, camera, things like that. So if you do want to go more in depth, you can go to apps, pick the app, and look at what features they have access to, and you can adjust the notifications that way. Again, I could go to, for example, that backgammon game, see notifications are off, and here they have less options than Amazon did. But those are two different ways to adjust, what notifications are coming through. If you're getting too many notifications, you may want to just go through these settings here, go through all your apps, and turn them off, the ones that you don't need. Speaking of apps, there may be times when you notice your cell phone is just operating a little bit slowly, or you feel like you're burning through the battery a little bit too quickly. It may be because you've got too many apps open in the background, or you're not closing your apps, and I wanted to show you how to do that a very easy way. So all you have to do, here's how to do it on any Apple device, and I believe on most Android devices. You just go to the very bottom of the screen, pull up, and this is going to show you any of the apps that you have open right now. And if you want to close them, very simply, just fling them up, fling them off the screen. If you want to stop there, just do what you did before from the bottom of the screen. But I want to close all the apps, so I'm going to do the same thing from the bottom of the screen, pull up, and then I'll just keep closing these apps because I don't need them open. Doing that's a good way to preserve your battery life, and also it takes up less of your device's processing power. So it's good practice just to close apps that you don't need anyway. I also wanted to show if you're having any kind of issues with your Bluetooth, how you can deal with those. Now, of course, you want to go to your settings, and then you want to go to Bluetooth. Now, what is Bluetooth? Bluetooth is, things that you're going to be connected to wirelessly, but at a fairly close range. A wireless headset might use Bluetooth. You're going to connect to your car if you're not directly plugging into your car with like a USB or USB-C type cable. You're going to use your Bluetooth. Another very common way is with like a Bluetooth speaker if you want to play sound through one of those. So let me show you how you would connect to something like that. First, of course, if your Bluetooth is off, you go ahead and turn it on. And then it'll pair up with any devices that you've already paired with, like an Apple Watch or another device. I have here an Anchor sound station, little sound bar. First, I need to turn it on. Hold that down for a moment till it comes on, and probably will not sync up because I have not paired it yet. So that's okay. Next thing you want to do once it comes on is look for this little Bluetooth device. That symbol there, you see it matches up with that Bluetooth symbol. So if I just hold this button down, hopefully you'll see it pop up under the Bluetooth devices. And it might take a second. You might have to press it for a few seconds. And there it goes. So it finally popped up under my devices, an Anchor Sound Core. Now, of course, to use it, you'll want to go ahead and click on that on your phone or device, and now it's connected. And you see now we can actually change the sound through your device or through the speaker itself. And that's how you connect through something like that. To disconnect, you can basically just go to disconnect, or if you want to completely forget this device, say it's a device at a hotel or someplace that you're not coming back to, you can just completely forget this device altogether and it will disappear eventually. I wanted to kind of explain what you would do if, say, your phone froze for some reason. Like, say for example, you opened a website, say my website here, Limetree IT. Of course, now this website would never freeze because I put it together myself, but say you opened an app, like say the weather app, or any app on your phone, and whatever happened, it froze. You tried to touch the screen, nothing happened, you couldn't close it, none of the side buttons worked, nothing on your phone was working, it was just frozen. What would you do? So basically you just need to restart your phone at that point. You could wait, maybe eventually it will start working again, but I'm impatient, I reboot the phone, and it's good for the phone to do that occasionally. So how do you do that? On newer models of iPhones, there's a button usually here on the side. You just hold that down, you press it, hold it down for a few seconds, and eventually a screen will pop up and it will give you the option to shut the phone down. On my phone, it's a little bit older, so I have to hold both this button down and one of the volume buttons. I believe it's this lower button down, so I hold them both down for a few seconds. And there we go. I get this screen. It gives you emergency call, power off, or I'll cancel for now. Then you do have to enter the passcode after that. On other phones, you may have to do a combination, like you'll have to hold that and possibly both of these buttons down on some phones, older models. On some phones, you may have a button here in the middle of the phone about where the 0 is. If that is the case, what you'll have to do is just kind of like you did with this button, you just hold that 0 button down until that basically you get that screen that I got before. Speaking of rebooting your phone, there's something that probably you might not know about, and that's that you should actually reboot your phone, and actually you should do it often. When I say often, you should actually probably do it once a day. Now I realize not everyone's going to do that, not everyone has time to do that, I don't do it. But you should definitely do it at least once a week. That's true of any computer. If you have a desktop computer, a laptop, a cell phone, an iPad, an Android, these things are not meant to be on all the time. You might say, yeah, but I leave mine on all the time. Well, sure, but it's not good for the lifespan of the device. So what you want to do is set aside at least once a week, if not maybe a couple times a week, to reboot the thing. I'm going to show you how. I already showed you how to hard reboot it. You don't have to do it that way. There's a few easier steps to do it. I'll tell you why too. You know, these things store a bunch of memory on there, and sometimes they store too much memory, too many things that they don't need to remember. And by rebooting, it clears out some of the things that they really don't need to remember, that will slow them down and shorten their overall lifespans, shall we say. So what I usually do is I go up here. I think I showed you this before in some ways, how to adjust the the lightness, the darkness, the volume control. And up here at the top is a power button. If you just hold that down, I'm not sure if I'm hitting it. Yep. You get that same slide to power off button. That's how I usually shut it down. Another way to do it is you could go to your settings, go to general, and go to shut down. And once I do that, it's going to go ahead and turn this phone off, and that will go ahead and end my lesson. To turn it back on, when you are rebooting it, you'll want to give it a good 10 seconds, let it do its thing, shut down. Don't be too eager to turn it back on. Wait at least 10, maybe even 20 seconds. Then you go ahead and hold this button down, or if your button's here in the middle of the phone, hold that button down. Hold it down a good 10, 20 seconds until you see that Apple or whatever kind of icon appear on the screen, and then let it do its thing and reboot. So I'll go ahead and shut down this way, and then we'll go ahead and slide it off. I did also want to mention on there, if you are rebooting your device, whether it's a laptop or a iPhone or an iPad or whatnot, do be sure it's plugged in, or at the very least it's charged. Otherwise, if it's not charged, you might wind up going, hey, why isn't this thing turning back on? So that's the last lesson for today. Again, if you need any help, please feel free to reach out. I hope this was informative, and have a great day.